Hi and welcome to this Monday Mercy video from Jubilee Plus. Great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. And today I want to talk about climate change in the context of mercy. Now, people see it sometimes as a scientific issue, just a general environmental issue, a pollution related issue and all sorts of things like that. But today we're just going to think about mercy. And the way we're going to think about it is to start with the biblical principle of loving your neighbour as yourself. So this principle was established in Judaism by the law of Moses in Exodus chapter 19 verse 18. Love your neighbour as yourself. This was a command to the Jews in their Jewish towns and villages as they settled in the land of Israel. So the original context of loving your neighbour was about proximity, was about ethnic similarity, was about local community, and it was applicable amongst the Jews themselves primarily. So in that sense it was very limited. Now when Jesus came, he prioritized this commandment, describing it as the second greatest commandment of all, to love your neighbour as yourself. And what he did also was that he redefined the boundaries of loving your neighbour as yourself. And he did that most dramatically in the parable of the Good Samaritan, where the Samaritan helping the Jewish man who was beaten and left for dead on the side of the road was not helping somebody in his immediate community, wasn't helping somebody of his own ethnic group, it wasn't helping friends, it wasn't helping people that he had ongoing connection with. This was a passing connection on the road with somebody from another race. And so the story dramatically extends the principle of loving your neighbour as yourself from locality, community, ethnicity and familiarity and proximity to a general command in such a way that you can interpret it as follows: that to love your neighbour as yourself is to do good and help those whom you have the opportunity to help wherever they are. The Samaritan was far away from home when he encountered this Jewish man. He was taking a journey, as indeed the Jewish man had been himself. So loving your neighbour as yourself is a general principle that can apply to anybody. Now in the modern world, that general principle has become internationalized because of globalization and the change of our culture. And in the second half of the 20th century, in the Christian charitable community and culture, it became much more commonplace to send resources and gifts from this country to other countries, to love your neighbour as yourself in other countries, because we now had the capacity, the technology, the transportation and the opportunity and the wealth to help people who were far away. Organisations based in the UK had a worldwide reach. And so we began to think of our neighbours potentially as people in Mozambique or Cambodia or Latin America or China. And now when we introduce the concept of climate change to this way of thinking, we have another opportunity to consider the needs of people far away who we can now see in a fresh way as neighbours, because we know through scientific study that the primary impact and the most severe impact of climate change is to change the rainfall cycle and make it more severe. More heavy flooding, more heavy rain, more periods of drought and water shortage. And we also know that this applies most significantly and extremely in the poorest countries, the tropical countries of this world. And so therefore the poorest people are suffering because of climate change. And if we think of loving your neighbour as yourself as something universal as we've understood it to be, particularly in the 20th century from biblical foundations in the New Testament, then we can say that the people suffering because they have water shortages or excessive flooding and huge interruption to their agriculture and their lifestyle. These people are our neighbours, and therefore we should care about climate change and do what we can to slow it down, because we love our neighbour as ourselves. Thanks for listening, and I hope you'll come back for another Monday Mercy video soon. Bye for now.